Welcome back to From the Dark. At the end of the last episode you may have noticed that Lautrec wasn't there, and he's here now after reloading the game. But just before we go talk to him, I want to see if Crestfallen has any updates.
You again? There's nothing to speak about, really. Oh, actually, stranger things, right? No.
Have you heard of Patches?
No, haven't met him yet.
Well?
Nope.
I swear, if ever a man has rubbed me up trusty, if he ever comes again, I'll have his reward.
Let's go see what the clerics are up to.
Oh, hello. My guests have finally arrived, but I'm not sure what to make of them. Yes, I know. We are her defenses, to keep her from harm. Their ultimate effectiveness will be determined, but I'm not sure. So, miracles, I presume?
What have we here? Oh, it's you. You look awfully raggedy. You aren't exactly my idea of a good time, but what business have you? I do hope we meet again.
We've no time to fraternize. I have my couth, and by the looks of you, you no doubt have yours. Did I not explain the urgency of our tasks? So uncouth.
I'm afraid I will be saying goodbye soon. But it was a pleasure.
Right, well maybe Griggs will have something useful to say.
Did you see them? The 3 young clerics headed for the catacombs to seek poor young girls.
And for fuck's sake, you alright, like?
Myself?
Yeah, you.
I'm fine. Let's get started straight away. I have considered our relationship.
What relationship
I
are you
will
having?
only leave after I have taught you all the hogwash that I know.
Alright, jeez, go on.
I wish to do what I can to locate Master Logan Paul.
Oh, please don't.
I am aware of my shortcomings, but
Oh,
I have
not
dedicated myself to Master Logan Paul. 2 things are required.
Oh, no, please don't tell me.
First.
No.
Second.
No.
Then you will be ready to fight.
No, that's gross.
Oh, and don't forget to aim.
You are gross, my man.
Goodbye then. Do stay safe. I shall count myself lucky if I manage to please.
Save me, Mr. Tummy Grumble.
Oh, hello there. I'm pleased as always. My teacher, whom I imagine still resides in the Great Swamp, he said that I was ecstatic. He rather had a way with words, the old withering frog. Of course,
Shot.
It wasn't all that romantic in the end.
Oh, that's gross. You just sneezed all over me.
I gave you a part of myself. Please take good care of him.
Ew, just upgrade my flame and leave me alone. Oh, those souls. Okay, so I need a couple of things at this point. I want some souls to upgrade the Pyro Flame. I want some large shards to upgrade my Balder Sword. And I want some green shards because I want to make a divine weapon. So you know what that means? It means I'm going to get distracted with another NPC. And this one's going to be very difficult to edit, but I'll see what I can do. I'm a bit worried looking over New Londo here because it is very dark. Like, it's borderline on completely unplayable. Now, I spoke before in episode 1 about the pros and cons of the mods that I'm using, but at this point I was worried that if I'm going through New Londo I might have to like just uninstall the mods and do things vanilla. But I've got a plan. And we'll execute that plan when the time comes, but for now let's just go talk to this crazy boy.
Can you believe it? Sorcery? Why is it? We only fiddle and forge penises till it works itself in. There's nothing to talk about.
Oh, thank fuck for that. Finally, I'm coming through Valley of Drakes. This is a slightly underappreciated area in the game, in my opinion. You got Blight 10 in the middle, and then on either side you've got Darkroot Garden and Firelink, and of course New Londo. So it really connects a lot of the world together, which is the kind of main reason why people love this game, but they attribute that to Firelink, when I think there's some credit due for this being the real glue that holds together the map. You can take 2 of these items without waking the undead dragon, who looks incredible up close. I didn't want to wake him up because killing him is just a little bit laborious. I suppose so is Havel, but this is louder and I feel less confident with doing it. I guess I could have just woken him up by taking the item, but I'd have to dodge a swipe and I guess I just didn't feel like it. Anyway, we have a couple things to do down here in Blight 10. I am going to go through Blight 10 entirely as a level from the depths later, but for now I just want to gather a few materials. Fuck you, dickhead. You'll see here as I'm coming in through the tunnel again, something weird happened where textures like didn't load properly or something and everything was just like black. So everything's much darker and then I'll reload the game and it fixes it. Also, we'll see the first of a couple of instances of this kind of terrain bug. I think this is related to frame rate, but I'm not sure. So the last time I was playing Dark Souls before this VR mod, I can't remember when it was, I think it may have been like a couple of years ago. I remember I spent like about a half an hour or an hour trying to do the Blight 10 drop. But I kept dying over and over and over again, confused because I used to just find it so easy. But only recently, from watching a Lobos video, I learned that you have to do it at 30 FPS. It doesn't work at 60 FPS, so I guess majority of the time I was doing it was on PlayStation 3 back in the day, or else I just don't remember having to flip it to 30. I'm not sure then, does that mean you can't do the Blight 10 drop and remastered at all? Anyway, I certainly wasn't going to try it at this. If it doesn't work at 60 FPS, it's not going to work at like 200 FPS. Speaking of FPS, I only realised while editing the last video, although I forgot to say it in that video. I said in part 2 that I was now recording in 60 FPS, but I accidentally rendered that video in 30 FPS. Whoops. So sorry about that, but in future anyway, part 3 and onward will be uploaded in 60 FPS. So hopefully that's nicer. I opened up to look at the dragon scale description and noticed that I had 4 chunks. And I was like, what the fuck? Why do I have 4 chunks? I know I killed 2 Black Knights, but I have no idea where I got the other 2 chunks from. I'll probably remember by next episode. Anyway, the description says, peeled from an ancient dragon, and then also says a dragon is inseparable from his scales. So which is it? Last episode I spoke about some of the vagueness in Dark Souls lore, and I guess the dragons are a perfect example. In the Age of Ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. Except shrouding something in fog sounds a bit like formation to me. Having big Satsuma skin stone dragons flying about the place along the big trees also sounds a bit like formation to me. Anyway, that's my lore comment for this episode, is how peelable are the dragons really. You may have guessed where I'm going here. It's one of the reasons why people go to Blight 10 early and start engaging with these toxic guys. Anyway, something important happens when you get this Firekeeper soul here though, which is that Lautrec is going to kill Anastasia now. As far as I know, there are 2 triggers for Lautrec killing Anastasia. One is that you ring both bells, and then the other is that you pick up both Firekeeper souls from here and from the Undead Parish. When the bells are rung, it's conceivable that Lautrec hears the bells and says, okay, time to get a move on. Next stop is going toward Anor Londo. But obviously Lautrec doesn't know that we've picked up this Firekeeper soul at all. So picking up the Firekeeper souls as a trigger is a bit like a fuck you mechanic from the game. It's not only saying, okay, you've made it to these 2 points in the game, so we're going to progress the story. But it's also like, okay, you got another Firekeeper soul, well now you've nowhere to use it. And I mean, most players are probably sitting on that loot for quite a time. especially if they take a, you know, quote-unquote normal path through the game, which is that after Quelaag they'll continue through Demon Ruins until the Orange Fog Wall and then backtrack their way back up through Blighttown to Firelink. And assuming they didn't find Engi, then they'll discover Anastasia's dead and they have to wait until they go through Sense Fortress and get to Anor Londo before they get to use their Firekeeper Soul. But as I'm saying all this, I realise how much of a big ticko I am to forget about the Firekeeper Soul in New Londo. Probably should have used that before letting Anastasia die. Where is the Firekeeper Soul? Where is it? The wooden boards of Blighttown were never really that nice to walk on, but yeah, this just showcases how bad it'll be later when I'm trying to traverse those sketchy bits up in Upper Blighttown. Oh, there it is.
Damn.
No!
Damn, what a shame.
Dastardly dogs. Whenever I'm going in to collect a Firekeeper Soul or an item like this, I always have such a slick idea in my head. Like, oh, I'm just going to go in, I'll be real careful, and I'll just drop in, grab the item, Homer Bone, it'll be all good. Alright, whatever. But I'm actually just a bit shit, I think. I can't remember if I mentioned the ragdoll effect in a previous video, but if you want a good example of how the ragdoll effect can take away from the game tonally, then try playing up close to your character in Blighttown, because holy shit, these guys are just so fucking wormy. So too are the slugs that we're about to farm. But just before I do, I'm going to collect a few of the remaining items in the area, and also I'm going to fight a naked lady. Parrying Mildred is so satisfying in this game. I wish I didn't take damage, though. It would have made a really satisfying kill, but it definitely feels good to face an enemy head on instead of always circling around. Though the backstabbing and parrying mechanics in this game have always been a point of contention. It's definitely something they improved on in Bloodborne, for example, where it's a powerful thing you can do, but the combat doesn't center around it like it does in Dark Souls, unless you're executing precise speedrun strats. So Mildred's souls and humanity is a nice little boost, but I didn't come here for that. I came for the surrounding items and for the slugs. And I pieced together this farming session into a bit of a montage and wrote some music to go with it. And I gotta say, I'm not doing this again. I don't think this took a lot longer than I wanted. Each and every clip took quite a lot more care than I was anticipating, but I really hope you enjoy it. Whoa. that's enough. I'm gonna call that little track State of the Slug, because that's what I had to get into to edit that shit. Lobos undertook quite a lot in the LobosFX mod, but it's not completely perfect, and there's a lot of death noises or attack noises that aren't quite lined up correctly. So for every single killing blow of a slug, I had to make sure that the audio latency was correct so that the sound lined up with the poke of the sword. I wouldn't say it's noticeable all during gameplay for what it's worth, but when you take little snippets like that, I was definitely noticing it. Lobos has put fantastic work into his mod, and I've been really enjoying it. But next episode, I think I'm going to have it off and see what it's like for at least an episode or two. I might hate the vanilla sounds and want to go back, but I want to try out the old sounds again. Particularly given that we've seen most of the NPC dialogue, albeit scrambled into filth. And also I'm getting a little sick of hearing the breathing noise in the background. Yeah, I'm sure you've probably noticed since then, but in part 1 when I asked about that sound on the bridge, I thought it may have been either the sound of the dragon that spawned in the background, or of the character that was resetting when I went past a certain point on the bridge, but actually it resets every time you take a little step. Anyway, although it's nice to get a little bit of extra armor here, I didn't come here for the Wanderer set. I have one more thing I want from Blighttown before heading back. I couldn't remember exactly how to get there, but I was grateful that I didn't have to go too far. Trekking through Blighttown is a little bit hazardous, and I have a lot of souls on me that I want to keep for the moment. So well done if you guessed it. Before heading into the catacombs, I'm going to make myself a divine whip. But there's one more loose end to tie up before heading back.
Hello. You are a friend. I'll sell cheap.
This ain't fucking cheap.
You have some guts to turn on us. Have a look at my sword, for it's the last thing you'll see.
So I had in my mind that this would be a nice clean fight. But then I realized we were rolling through shit. So I let the sepsis finish him. I wanted to be very evasive because I thought this was a 2v1 fight. But of course this is Dark Souls, so one of my enemies was of course very confused at what's going on. Dark Souls is known for its difficult enemies, but the enemies are kind of stupid and broken. It's known for its riveting combat, but it's a bit centered around backstabbing or circling around. It's known for its excellent map, but often the terrain is pretty broken. It's also known for its incredible world design and storytelling, but we collect the fucking unpeelable dragon skins. For sure, there are holes in this game. What the fuck do I love this game so much for? It should be noted there's definitely no way that anybody knows what has just gone down here, right? I have killed these two warriors and nobody else knows about it. Definitively nobody knows I'm here and nobody knows that I killed these guys. I'll come back to that later. I know I said before I wasn't going to use this ring, but I'm getting used to playing in VR, and a little bit of flibbity never hurt anybody. So here's that key I mentioned in episode 2. If you're coming through Blighttown the quote-unquote normal way, then you basically get this key right before the door that it opens, so it's a little bit nonsensical. It's always absolutely boggled my mind why Lautrec would just leave a little invitation to come get him.
I'm not up for chatting.
Bro, you just watch her get murdered. I can't remember if it's fully upgrading the pyro flame that makes him leave, or if it's just getting chaos pyromancy. But in any case, we don't have enough souls right now for a fully upgraded one. But that's okay, +7 is still really strong for now.
Oh, you again? Your Highness, I am unworthy.
I think I swore to protect you with my life. Oh, I'm sorry. Sometimes I lose myself. I've become separated from my lady. I've cowered near and far.
Why don't you just go rescue her then?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, I am entirely to blame for this death. Sometimes I'm entirely separated from myself. Pay me no mind.
I could smell some mighty penises with one of those.
Why not lend it to me?
Jesus Christ, that was terrifying.
Magnificent. You won't be disappointed. I can
hardly wait to get started.
So yeah, like I said, we can get a divine whip for the catacombs, but now also we've got a +10 Baldur's Side sword, which should see us through for a considerable portion of the game. Of course, I could just go get the very large ember now down in New Londo by killing Ingrid, but this is a game where you kind of choose your own difficulty, and I don't think I want to choose a difficulty where it is really a cakewalk. Like if I start off the game with a +15 weapon, it's just going to be easy. What I'm personally aiming for is that for a given boss fight or a stage, I'm dying maybe, 2 or 3 or 4 times or something. Okay, so in a minute I'm going to go kill the gargoyles. But I got distracted with a little side quest here where I wanted to just check, is the Forest Covenant angry at me? Turns out, abso-fucking-lutely. The only way that they could have known that it was me who killed Shiva is from wibbly-wobbly timey-wimey bullshit.
Oh, thy no rest will...
Or in Dark Souls language, that's relations shift and obscure. I was a bit bitter that I didn't get to speak to Alfina properly, and of course she fucking leaves after this dialogue, and I was trying to read the feckin' subtitles while doing this fight on the bridge. So an all-round anxiety-inducing experience for the completionist part of me. Would not recommend. You probably wouldn't have guessed it from watching, but these are the enemies that I've killed by far the most of in the game. Look how gorgeous that spell is, by the way. Say what you want about the remastered, they made those spells look really good, and in VR this looked incredible. Anyway, I spent like a lot of time here in about 2014. While hosting in this area, I'd often just kill the guys while waiting to see a sign. But also if I popped down a white sign or even a red sign, then I'd kill these guys while waiting too. So it's surprising to still find them challenging, even coming here with a +10 weapon. I like how there's just a little variety of humanoid enemies to fight. It's fun practicing against these guys. Anyway, I didn't come here to fight them, I came to check on Alvina, who isn't here obviously. But I figured I'd kill the rest of them for a few souls, just for the sake of it I suppose. Other than Shiva and his stupid companion, there's 2 that don't respawn. There's this guy, and then there's the one that people call Faris, although they might not be Faris. People used to say that she's pregnant because she drops twin humanities. Sorry. So at this point I was really thinking that killing them all had earned me enough souls to request absolution. But then I thought, fuck it, I'll just level up. The Forest Hunter Covenant is known as the PvP Covenant, with good reason. And I've no need for PvP in this playthrough, so I just thought, fuck it. So there's one more thing to do in this episode, save for binocularizing, and that's to beat the gargoyles, and you'll notice that Lautrec's sign isn't there. But Solar's is, so we're going to summon him. And I never realised before that white phantoms have like white eyes. I'm gonna let the cutscene play out, but just note that in VR the cutscenes are absolutely wild. They're really janky, they're really not designed for it. but it is incredibly immersive. It's incredible how different it is to what I was expecting. Kind of didn't want that to end. I was wanting to look around loads and see behind me and see all the unloaded geometry, and the camera cuts a lot, but I really just wanted to like keep looking around each time. Anyway, I'll shut up. Let's see what Solaire can pull off. You got it, brother.
Go on, my son.
Nice. Oh no, that won't do. Alright, there's a cutscene when the bell gets rung, and it was a wild one. And then I'll have a spot of spotting from the top of the tower. Oh, Jesus. Ugh. I'm not certain, but I think that's the tower with the watchtower key after killing the Moonlight Butterfly. I only vaguely recall feeling this way normally, but here I really felt frustrated that there's these barriers to me kind of looking over out of this tower. It's such a good viewpoint, they kind of missed an opportunity to make it really cool. But here's the bonfire glowing through the walls, and I figured out that if I kind of abuse the camera a little bit and stick it out the window, I could get a better view down below. It is really quite a unique look at the game that you really can't get, except in VR. In every playthrough of this game you learn something new, and here I was realising just how much the Undead Parish and this bell is directly above Firelink, and therefore above the kiln. I always thought of them as being close, but it really is just completely vertical.
Greetings. I am pleased to see thou appearest drenched in cream. Hast thou acquaintance with Petrus of Third? Is he not too? It is only human to commit a sin.
It is only human to commit a sin, and sinful I am.
Thou hast made thyself, and thou leavest me no choice. I shall accept thy next confession. Thou shalt regret this. Fear thine indelible wrongdoing.
I'll be honest, I just killed him because I thought I'd get access to his clothes sooner. But turns out you have to go all the way to Ariamis for that, so potentially a big oof there. I know it didn't seem like a lot happened in this episode, but it took a fucking long time to edit. But as always, if you watched to the end, appreciate you. I'll see you in the next one.